Welcome back to Conversations with Boston School Psychologists, building safe and supportive schools, one conversation at a time. This is the podcast where we highlight the people, practices, and partnerships shaping behavioral health and school psychology across Boston schools. Today, we're excited to welcome Hani Murad and Paola Enciso. Paola and Hani are not only bilingual school psychologists in the Boston Public Schools, but also union reps. Today, we'll be talking about union advocacy in the Boston Public Schools, but first, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your professional background, and your role as a union rep, starting with Hani? Go ahead, Hani.
Thank you very much for hosting us. It's really a pleasure to be with you, and it's a tall task to represent the whole department, but nonetheless, we'll do our best. I was born in Nazareth, in the Middle East, and I came to the United States a long time ago to go to graduate school, and I settled in Boston, a beautiful city. My background is in psychology and social work and service-oriented professions. I started in Boston Public Schools as an intern long time ago. I'm not going to name the year. And the year after my internship, they invited me to apply and become a staff member. And since then, I started working as a guidance counselor first. Then I went to graduate school for PhD, and I have a PhD in clinical psychology. In between, I spent 15 years working for the United Nations from 2004 to 2018. And I came back in 2018 back to Boston. And since then, I've been in the department. It really has been a pleasure to work with colleagues and administration, students, and their families.
That's wonderful. Well, happy to have you. Paola, go ahead and go next with your professional career and background.
Yeah. Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for inviting me today and being joined by such an amazing colleague. So I am originally from Colombia, and I moved in 1999. And I originally established myself in Florida, where I went to undergrad at University of Florida, of course, and did my undergraduate in psychology. Afterwards, I did a volunteer work at a charter school for students on the spectrum, where I completely got immersed into special education. And that's where I essentially discovered the role of school psychology. I think as a culture, psychology tends to have its negative connotations and perspectives. And it's something that I wanted to change, not just within my family for personal reasons, but also just professionally. I believe very much in the role of psychologists and mental health in the world. And then researching and just finding my way, I ended up in Boston in 2011 and at UMass, and here I am. And then I been working ever since in the department.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a joy. I've been so happy to be part of such an amazing group and be, just a wealth of knowledge and experience that I can find. Not, now myself having been a few years in the department, but to have the benefit of having people that are more experienced than I, as well as being a model for younger people in the profession. That's been a joy.
That's wonderful. And Paola and I actually started graduate school that same year, 2011. We're both practicum students together in the Boston Public Schools. So it's really important work you guys are doing. Thank you so much again for being here. And let's start out with this first question, which I'm going to give you both an opportunity to answer, starting with Hani. What are some of the key ways that union reps advocate for school psychologists and other educators in Boston?
Well, let's say that from the get-go, our work is really to focus on the students and their families and to provide the highest quality services for them. So we, as a union, see ourselves as partners for the school department as a whole for Boston Public Schools, and especially in our department for our administration, Andrea and Yvonne. And through our work together, really, we work really collaboratively in so many ways. And I at least believe strongly that we are one team. We have different emphasis maybe and different points of view on things, but nonetheless, the bottom line is that we want to serve our students and our families. So in many ways, we advocate for our school psychologists in the department, for example, contract negotiations, really to bring to the table the needs of us as a department and school psychologists. In order for us to do our job, we need resources. We need to have enough school psychologists to be able to cover the high needs that we have in the system, being that in terms of assessment, but more than that. One of the things that I want to really highlight from the beginning is that the idea of a school psychologist that has traditionally been among the public is that, we go testing, we do testing and evaluations, and that's like kind of the bulk of our work. It's correct that we do testing and evaluations, but our role has expanded tremendously throughout the years to include not only evaluation and testing and assessments, but also providing counseling, providing consultations to parents and teachers, crisis and emergency response, running groups, doing multi-tier interventions, tier 1 where we work with students who has special needs, but also just regular students, tier 2 and tier 3. So our role is really comprehensive role in the school system. And, one of the things that we really advocate for, in negotiation with the school department is that we want to hire enough school psychologists to cover these needs. As a union, we look after our members, school psychologists, to make sure that they have workplace protection, and that include maybe safe working conditions, protection from harassment, support for their work during the day by administration, and collaboration with all other professionals that we come in contact with. We have a team approach. Certainly, it's a multidisciplinary team. And, as a union, we highly emphasize and encourage our collaboration with other team members and the administration as well to provide the services. Also we do like professional support for our members. Certainly, we work with the school department to offer different kinds of PDs, professional development opportunities, and those professional development opportunities are focused on the last or the cutting edge maybe areas in the field. So things that are based on research and really evidence based kind of interventions. So overall, these are the kind of areas that really we highlight and emphasize.
Well, thank you, Hani, for that really thorough answer. Paola, do you want to add anything to that? I know that was he really hit on all the bases there. So I wasn't sure if you wanted to add, or we can go on to the next question.
I actually do have something to add. So as I've reflected on my role, especially in the schools that I'm at, I've had the capacity to step into distributive leadership. So basically, I am a sitting member of SST. I have opportunities to really affect systems change. And I think as a role and as a profession, that is something that our department has made such strides to make sure that people are educated, that we have the capacity and training to be educated voices and active members in decision-making moments and teams. Whether it be now the inclusion planning teams, for example, I have the pleasure of been a member of inclusion planning teams. MTSS, now that we are as a district and even as a country, we're moving into multi-tier systems of support. So as a union member, one of my personal beliefs is the biggest role for us is to create cohesion among defining our role and coming together with ways to educate others members of our school community around what we do. So that is a tall order, and especially in such a large group, because like I said earlier, we come from various backgrounds, various culture beliefs, various even interests in terms of interests of what we are interested within our role, but also personal interests. So making sure that that 100 and plus members of the department, sort of agree on one unified definition of school psychology and what we can do and what we're trained to do is a tall ask, but it's an ask that I am willing to take. And hopefully I'll have a team as a new members and new BTU rep. I am more than happy to be able to step into the shoes and see what I can offer.
Those are both great answers. And Boston Public Schools are so lucky to have you both as union reps. So how does the union help ensure staff have the resources, protections, and support they need to do their jobs well? I'll start with Paola this time. Go ahead.
So union reps are a voice of a larger group. So it is our job to make sure as a group, as a BTU rep group, we create systems that allow for cohesion. And as I mentioned earlier, that is something that is not easily accomplished. And as if anybody has the time to think about the history of our department, it's taken years to get to where we are. It's taken a lot of work. But being a unified group and making sure the department in and of itself has unified goals that we find ways to advocate for. I think that is one of the ways that we are able to advocate for resources. So finding focus on what exactly we want to advocate for is one of the biggest ways that myself as a BTUM member, think I can contribute. And also making sure that our message is also, we are sort of the bridge between the department at large and our supervisors and administration, as well as Boston Public Schools as a whole and the BTU as a whole. So just making sure that as BTU reps, we do our jobs well with making sure that a unified message is clearly stated, clearly defined, that we can then move forward with other stakeholders that have the capacity to make decisions based on our recommendations. And that, I think, as a BTU rep, is the best way we can contribute to the department.
Absolutely. Great answer. And Hani, would you like to add to that?
Briefly, just to maybe summarize quickly that, we're looking at tangible and intangible really benefits. So, tangible benefits we talked about, include compensation and improving work conditions and access to resources and equipment and testing material and protocols and all those kind of things that we use on a daily basis. But also there's intangible benefit that include, advocating for professional autonomy, giving us the resources and the time and let us do our work, basically. And with the minimal of interference in terms of, our professional role. Certainly there are regulation and laws and with the school department policies that we need to adhere and comply with. But then nonetheless, we also advocate for, autonomy in terms of doing our job and practice our professional judgment to serve our students and their families and the community as a whole. So, those like kind of things that it's really important. And for us as a union, we really underline and the importance of following ethical practices and creating an environment where we have a professional support for us as a community of school psychologists in the system. So, and thank goodness, knock on wood, my experience in the department has been really wonderful in terms of the camaraderie and the support that we receive among our colleagues, not only from administration, which is really a very, very important factor, but among our colleagues, we have that camaraderie and really trusting environment where we can share not only our professional practices, but sometimes even, emotional, psychological support that we need doing our jobs.
That's great that you have that camaraderie. Now would be a great segue to get into some specific examples of how the union rep has made a difference for staff, for students. And I know that one thing that comes to my mind when it comes to Boston Public Schools is you guys have advocated so strongly for more school psychologists and have done an incredible job with that. And I know, Hani, you had mentioned that the union had played a role in that as well. So I'm very curious to hear, starting with Hani, how the union has made some meaningful change for staff and students.
Thank you. I remember when I started, I started in Boston a long time ago, but I rejoined our department in 2018, and we had, I don't know, a couple of dozens school psychologists at the time and 6 social workers. And that's not too long ago, it's just like 6-7 years ago. Now we're almost 100. So in terms of us as a union advocating for increasing staffing, because you're talking about 45,000 to 50,000, sometimes 55,000 students in Boston, depends on the year and the enrollment. But we have, high caseload, and, part of our ability to deliver a high quality service is that we need more man/woman/person's power, So we advocated to increase the staff. We, as a union, we met with the superintendent. We provided data as to the number of cases we have, the number of counseling sessions, and all those statistics that really helped facilitate and encourage the superintendent to put more resources into the department and expand it. So that was one way that is really concrete that the union played a key role in that.
When you say superintendent put more resources, does that mean hired more school psychologists?
Exactly. Hired more school psychologists, made sure that, we have enough money to have, evaluation kits and, protocols and be part of the improving technology in the field of evaluation and testing. Like, we have iPads now, things are automated more. We don't have to spend hours on end just scoring by hand, pencil and paper kind of thing, which kind of cut down on maybe some of the hours of, manual work, and allows us to spend more time with our students and families. So that's really important.
That's wonderful.
So the other things that I think about, improving as a union, we always advocate for improving working conditions. We certainly want to continue to learn and grow as individuals and as a community, and continue really to work collaboratively to advance our mission and goal, which is ultimately having our students not only achieve academically, but be a good community member in terms of being able to manage their own emotions and contribute to a community and improve the environment, not only in school, but in the neighborhood as well. The issue of mental health and mental well-being becomes essential really to growing and developing as a child. And once you have the good skills to do that, I hope that you'll be a better adult contributing to your community and society.
That is a great answer. Paola, go ahead and add some more meaningful examples that union reps have made a difference.
No, I think with advocating for just a larger number of school psychologists being present on the ground on a daily basis just has allowed, in partnership with and I think that has been done throughout in the last few years. I want to say, even when I started as a practicum student, back in 2012.
2012, yeah.
I was even seeing the trajectory, because even back then, the department and the BTU were working together to making sure that, and I will keep going back to this, educating our capacity of others and education about our training and how much we are able to do and where we could be utilized. So one of the biggest ways is not necessarily just tangibly, counting the number of counseling cases and things like that, which are, like Hani has said, testing are perhaps the most, salient aspects of our role and the most well-known, but also making sure that we try to quantify or find ways to quantify. And this is where, the collaboration with the administration it's been stellar. Finding ways to make sure we let everybody know the expansion of our role. So we're not only testing now, but we also have the capacity to sit in inclusion planning teams at SSTs. We are members who in the past, I was MTSS coordinator, so that we have the capacity to do those things. But in order for us to be able to sit there, they need more of us. And we can't be doing it when, colleagues and myself, I've been, in the past, I split my time between 3 schools. This year, I was at a single school for a number of years, 6 years, and now I'm back at 2 schools. So even that has affected change. So I think we're at a critical time where we need to keep moving forward and educating the value of school psychologists in the school building and having them have adequate time within the school building or present to be able to service students both face, but also creating system-wide change that make a difference, not just for the students that you are, servicing directly, so via testing or counseling, but the school environment and creating safety schools at large.
Absolutely. That advocacy to keep moving forward for systems-wide change is super important. And Andrea had mentioned in her episode about how they got the numbers from, in 2010, there was about 40-something school psychologists to now, which is over 100. And so for viewers who are unfamiliar with the ratios, the union and the Boston Public School psychologists have done a phenomenal job advocating for more school psychologists and have been very effective at it. So, for our last question, looking ahead, what are the biggest priorities for union advocacy in Boston Public Schools? And how can staff get more involved? I'll let either of you go ahead and jump in. Hani, if you want to, go for it.
Thank you, certainly. So, I think our priority really as a department has been always to advocate for our students, to provide them the resources and the services needed and necessary for them to grow in a healthy environment and equip them with the necessary skills to manage their lives, not only in school, but outside school as well. And in order to do that, we need resources. I sadly could say that last year, we were cut about 10 positions from the department. And that was really sad day for us all. Because even with the 109 that we had, we continue to face, shortage in staff, meaning that even with the 109, school psychologist positions that we had, last school year, we needed more than that even. So to be cut 9 position, that was really devastating to many of us. So, increase resource and staffing, that's always a priority. And it's not because we want to hire people, but because the requirements in the field, in the day-to-day, our students require more help in terms of mental health, mental well-being support and services. So that's one area. The other thing that, our advocacy really will continue to improve working conditions and caseload. When I have 20 counseling cases, that's a full-time job by itself. And you add to that another 80 or 100 evaluations a year, that's 2 people's job that I'm doing. That's really too much, So in order for us to take care of our staff, from, burnout and frustration and stress and all those kind of stressors that we face on the job, we need to increase those resources. So improving work condition could include as well, having a decent place to meet with other students and families. I worked in schools where we met with students in the hallways. And I mean, what kind of service is that? You meet with students in the hallway, no confidentiality, distraction. It's not a way of to provide a service. But if you don't have space, what can you do?
Right.
You try to do the best you can under the circumstances. Having, confidential, private spaces to meet is important. And, continue to work to enhance our, professional development. That's really a key area. So, what we want, from our members also to be more involved. Certainly we are union reps, but, 5 people cannot just carry the load for everybody alone. We are happy to do our share, but we want, our colleagues to become more involved in terms of, being involved in different committees, being that, the SST, the mental health well-being committee, the climate committee, integration or inclusion committees. We want our colleagues to be more active, certainly, and enjoy those committees. Because when you are in a committee, you have a say. You are able to advocate for things. If you're absent, nobody's going to speak for you. Other things that I could think about is just, to take the union role as an essential in terms of not only providing the service for students, but also for us to grow as professionals. And part of that is to become active in the union, come to meetings when there are discussions about different aspects and budgets and the like. Be there so you can advocate and voice your opinion. The other thing is to make sure that we are collaborating with other providers so we all can have a comprehensive approach to serving our students.
Absolutely. That was a great answer. And Paola, would you like to go ahead and add to that?
Sure. I think I just want to echo 2 things. Number one is, as Hani said, just improving working conditions. And as an individual, I am sort of experiencing that this year. I went from, and sort of the regression we are experiencing recently in terms of resources. So this year, for example, I went from having a full-time office, a confidential space, that made it really that students were happy to come into to still having that in one of my schools, and then the other one struggling to find a place to test, to find a place to see my students for lunch bunches that I've started implementing, to finding a place to even make a private phone call with parents. And that shouldn't be, especially when you're having conversations of a certain type, you definitely want to have a space that is confidential and trusted. So even those small things, people need to understand that they are essential for us to do our job well. And I also agree with Hani in that we need to be pushing our colleagues. And as BTU reps, I think that's one of the biggest ways we can contribute. Also, back to an earlier question, continue to encourage our colleagues to be active members of different aspects of school functioning. So SST, PTs, MTSS, to go beyond just IEP meetings, because that is really what at the end of the day sort of trickles down to to those aspects of the job as well. We have a say in so I'll give you a prime example. I took it upon myself the special ed coordinator, the social worker, and myself, we're meeting next week to kind of talk about how we are going to provide counseling equitably within our school building. So we have to push ourselves to sort of have those conversations with the people that we work amongst with. And if people do that, I am sure that we will be able to affect change at higher levels because our voices are going to be heard. And for example, when I speak to my social worker, when I speak to the coordinator, they're going to be able to speak to their colleagues and say, oh, but our school, we do it this way. And it starts resounding and sort of creates like the wave effect. So I think as BTU reps, we definitely need to push for that. Keep pushing, because I don't think that it hasn't happened. Just keep moving forward with the expansiveness of our roles.
That's fantastic. You both have done such an excellent job of answering the questions and hitting a lot of important themes across this episode. So I really appreciate it. I'd like to end with something fun. If you want to add a little fun fact at the end before we close, Paola, I'd like to start with you. Go ahead and you can name a few fun facts. You can name one, whatever you'd like. Go ahead.
So earlier in the episode, I mentioned that I moved from Colombia when I was 15. And in Colombia, I was actually a professional bowler for a number of years. I mean, the younger league, I did compete nationally.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
That a lot of people don't know.
What is your highest score? Have you gotten close to a perfect 300 or anything like that?
270 something.
What? That's amazing. That is so cool.
I've been out of practice for many years, but
yeah, we're all going to expect next time there's a social at the bowling alley, we're all going to have high expectations of you.
Yeah, and that's my fun fact.
That's awesome. Hani, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I'm not as exciting as Paola, but I'm trilingual, and I still play soccer on a mature people's team that travels around the States.
Cool. A travel soccer team. And what are the languages?
I speak Arabic and Hebrew and some English.
That's wonderful. And so do you work with some of these students who speak Arabic and Hebrew in the schools?
Yes, certainly. I cover the district for evaluations in both languages, Arabic and Hebrew, and I do
that's fantastic.
The English one at my schools as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for listening to Conversations with Boston School Psychologists, one conversation at a time. And thank you to Hani and Paola for joining. Please follow us on our socials, Boston School Psychs, and visit our website, bostonschoolpsychs.com, to learn more about our work. Join our next conversation to learn more about resources and tips for creating safe and supportive schools. Thank you so much.